We turn the spotlight on truth and accountability, from sharp analysis of corruption to powerful rhymes. Good morning. On behalf of Attorney Karen Jimeno, this is George Cahiles, and this is At the Forefront. Flood control corruption was exposed months ago, yet the waters of accountability remain stagnant. The Senate Blue Ribbon hearing sustains the probe, but the trail to lawmakers is still cold, waiting for justice to break through. When will investigations finally lead to those who are truly responsible? Joining us this morning, the Dean and Professor at the UP National College of Public Administration and Governance, Dr. Christopher Berce. Good morning, Dr. Christopher.
Good morning, George.
All right, sir, let's start off. Pag-usapan natin itong conduct ng mga investigation, both houses, kahapon sa Blue Ribbon sa Senate. Sa tingin nyo ba natutumbok ng mga hearings na ito kung saan dapat pumunta or sino dapat ang managot sa flood control scam?
Well, I think my purpose, no, my contribution din yung mga hearings sa Senado at sa House of Reps. Primarily because they give us some ideas, especially hindi lang ang public, pati na rin ang independent commission, no, nagbibigay ng kumaga nag-iiwan ng mga breadcrumbs or nagpo-point sa mga possible hints at where and how embedded the corruption is, no. So merong ganun, may ganun siyang function. Pero kailangan din nating tandaan na tama yung observation na hindi pa talaga, no, hindi pa lumalalim yung investigasyon. At kailangan kailangan tingnan na maging sa loob ng executive, hindi lang dapat DPWH ang tinitingnan, kailangan din silipin siyempre yung iba pang ehensya na maaring, may mga errant public servants na may mga nakasabwat dito sa grupo ng mga na-involved sa alleged corruption.
Now, Prof, with the change of leadership in the Senate and now at the House of Representatives, if you can compare, siguro sa Senate muna dahil hindi pa natin natatest yung sa House of Representatives do you think there were changes in the way the probe are being carried out by the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, now being headed by Senator Panfilo Lacson?
Well, I think not much change, I would say, no? Kasi hindi naman bago, halimbawa sa Blue Ribbon, hindi naman nagbago yung nature and expected outcome ng investigation, which is of course to expose and at the same time, ultimately, to aid in legislation. So I think hindi naman nagbabago yun. Magkakaiba lang siyempre yung the way of questioning, pero eventually I would like to believe na it will lead to the same thing, no? Ang makita yung depth and breadth of the corruption also.
Now, some observers are saying that why some senators who are being implicated in this flood control scam are those who are grilling those persons or those invited guests during the hearing. What can you say about that?
Well, that can be expected. And in fact, this is also one of the earlier apprehensions. How can you investigate your own? Diba? And this is also at the level of the House. But I think it cannot be avoided, primarily because members din naman ng Blue Ribbon, yung mga nandun na supposedly na senators na involved. So they're doing it, and the assumption is they're doing it in good faith, and not, although we can see also na parang nagiging personal yung pagtatanong, di ba?
Oo nga po, baka maging self-serving kasi siya
yun nga yun yung medyo nakikita doon. But I think they have to be given that space also because they are, yung pangalan nila ay nadadawit. But I think that's where the chairman could play an important role in terms of, navigating, moderating the floor to ensure that it doesn't end up like becoming a self-serving platform to clarify to make personal arguments or to clarify one's position with respect to the corruption.
Opo. Yesterday, sir, kasi napag-uusapan nga itong mga pag-grill ng mga senador, ano? Kasi lumabas yung CCTV before ni Senator Ping Lacson that one
Mm.
of the contractors went to the office of a senator. And yesterday, it was clarified that, in fact, she went to the office of Senator Erwin Tulfo, allegedly, to provide a proposal to fix his leaking ceiling doon sa veranda sa Senate. Do you think it's believable kung kayo ang titingin doon sa ganong paliwanag?
Well, I think it's believable naman kasi remember, ang Senado natin or House of Rep, labas-pasok ang mga tao dyan. And kumbaga open naman yung mga institusyon natin sa mga visitors or sa mga kumbaga nag-go-offer, no? And people really come and go. So I think kailangan lang, yun nga, kailangan siyempre may supporting evidence, no? Kailangan lang maipakita na hihigit doon sa mga sinasabi. It should not just be by words, dapat may accompanying evidence kung ano talaga yung ginawa or nangyari, no? Pero as I would see it, parang yung mga ito may tendency nga na maging distraction lang doon sa talagang investigation na pwedeng tingnan.
Now, yesterday po, itong sina Curly Discaya, Henry Alcantara, and JP Mendoza were cited in contempt. Sa karanasan natin, sa napakaraming hearings na napanood natin sa Senado, napakarami rin pong mga sinasite in contempt. Ito bang pagsasite in contempt, is it a good tool to get information from our resource persons, no? And sa karanasan po ba natin, or based on your analysis, nakukuha po ba natin yung tamang information from them by citing them in contempt?
Well, I think ideally it should, di ba? But yun nga, it also I think it also reflects the frustration, no, of the senators who are asking the questions na hindi nakukuha yung sagot, di ba? Nandiretsahan. That's the that's the thinking. Hopefully, after some time, they will come to their senses and come clean. Yun nga lang, syempre, alam din naman natin na by human nature, no, pwede rin hindi natin makukuha yung gusto natin makuha from that process.
Opo, Prof, ito kasing ICI, it already started its own probe. Now, are the Senate and House hearings risk the redundant na po ba itong ginagawa nila? Or can they still add value?
Yeah, hindi naman, no? Halimbawa, kasi remember, ang objective ng Senate and House hearings is in aid of, it's in aid of legislation. And at the very least, it shows us, through their mga investigations na naka-stream live, di ba? Nakikita ng mga tao, no? Kung ano yung gaano kalawak, no? At gaano kalalim yung nangyari, no? At kung sino-sino yung potentially involved na mga personalities. So, nandun yung part na yon. And palagi, yun nga, ang objective niyan is in aid of legislation. Yung talagang investigation that should lead to, prosecution or that should send people to jail and to the filing of cases, no, administrative or criminal, kung ano pa man yan, yun yung nandun sa ICI. So, I don't see any redundancy, no? But dapat complementary siya at kung ano man yung napukuha na information from the Senate or the House of Rep, ito ay dapat i-share din sa ICI. Ultimately, yung ICI yung magre-recommend sa OP.
No, Prof, before I let you go, the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism just published an article saying that President Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte also received some money from some contractors during their campaign. Campaign donations daw po ito. And if I may state and quote the article, it is Rod Hill Construction Enterprises, which gave the president 20 million during his campaign in 2022, and one Genesis 88 Construction for VP Sara Duterte. Do you think the ICI should touch on these issues as well?
Well, right now, remember ang mission or ang mandate ng ICI is yung flood and other infrastructure projects since 2016. No? Yung issue na to ay may kinalaman sa campaign donations. It's more of an electoral issue. Unless mai-link nila na later on, no, may mga na activities or projects na nagbunga because of this donation, directly with linking the president and the vice president, then yeah, dapat titingnan nila, no. But as far as yung sa report na may kinalaman sa electoral donation, hindi yun, I would say, no, hindi yun hindi yun yung main na mandate ng ICI. At least at this point.
Prof, ano po yung kailangang baguhin sa sistema ng flood control projects para hindi na ito maging gatasan ng mga opisyal at mambabatas?
Well, siguro higit sa lahat, transparency. No? Transparency sa buong proseso. Mula dun sa planning, hanggang dun sa pagbabudget, hanggang dun sa pag-implement, all the way to monitoring, evaluation, etc. We have to completely open our systems. No? May mga nagsuggest na before na magandang ipasok ito. You know, it can be aided by technology in a way na mabawasan yung manual interference, no, ng government official, ng ng mga legislators, ng mga private contractors. Because nangyayari naman to because nagkakaroon ng manual or human interference, di ba? And kaya nagkakaroon ng discretion. But if you remove those things, then mababawasan natin, no? Mababawasan natin. And it starts with the transparency. And ensuring that the data, the information would be accessible also to the people.
Ang problema nga, Prof, may efforts to digitalize pero ibabalik ulit sa dating proseso with human intervention. But anyway, thank you very much po, Dean Christopher Berce, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning.